Why wouldn't we want to make it more difficult for a dangerous person to get his or her hand on a gun? Why wouldn't we want to close the loophole that allows as many as 40% of all gun purchases to take place without a background check? Why wouldn't we do that?
Well, this week, on the same day that new details came out offering an inside look at the Sandy Hook gunman Adam Lanza, President Obama pressured lawmakers to pass new gun control laws. But would new laws have prevented the tragedy or any future one? Joining us now is former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Alisyn. How are you?
I'm well. Let's take a look at some of the things that the president is proposing and see if they would have made a difference in Sandy Hook, because obviously everybody in the country wants to prevent another Sandy Hook from ever happening again. One of the things that's been talked about a lot are background checks. If the background checks were expanded or were more stringent, it doesn't seem as though that would have had much of an effect here in Newtown, because these guns were registered legally to Nancy Lanza, Adam Lanza's mom, not to Adam Lanza.
Right. The president's lying about the data. That 40% figure has been debunked so often, he should be embarrassed. You know, we're being governed by a class of political cowards who manipulate data, statistics, and emotions to try to take away your liberties. That fact is not true. Background checks, look at the prosecutions, Alisyn. The prosecutions for people who go through a background check and are not in turn qualified to buy a gun are so unbelievably low. There's absolutely no data to back it up. He's not telling the truth.
And what you're talking about is the statistic that 40% of gun purchases do not go through a background check. You're taking objection with that number. Let's move on to the magazine clips. This is another controversial element of the plan. The president wants magazine clips to hold no more than 10 rounds. We do know now from the newly released documents that Adam Lanza had 3 30-round clips. He was able to fire off 150 rounds in the space of 5 minutes. If he had been limited to 10 rounds, wouldn't that have slowed him down and possibly saved some lives?
Alisyn, in the Secret Service, we could change out a magazine in about 1.5 seconds, and some of the better guys who train can do it in even less than that. You know who determines the amount of rounds you need in a gunfight to protect yourself or your family? Not you. The bad guy. He doesn't stop shooting at 10 rounds, I assure you. And he doesn't care about a magazine restriction. He's going to have a standard capacity magazine while you're restricted to 10 rounds. So the president, who has no background in security at all, he was a lawyer, a constitutional attorney, should really back down on it. It's a ridiculous restriction. It's not going to do a thing to prevent gun violence at all.
And very quickly, Dan, you obviously have been on the front lines in terms of being a Secret Service agent. What is the solution?
Well, we don't even have mental health records right now inputted into NICS, which is the gun background check system that we're using now. So if you've been declared mentally incompetent or a danger to self or others, you're not even in the system. What about armed security at schools, Alisyn? You know, the bad guys, they're going to get the weapons. You know, we're not going to be able to stop them with harsh language. We need to do so. The president has his children protected by guns, and I deserve to have the same luxuries, and I use that term with air quotes, afforded to me.
Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, thanks for coming in with your perspective.
Thanks, Alisyn.
Next on the rundown, looking for an island